Welcome to our deep dive today. Got quite the mix of news from February 13, 2025. Seems like one side of the country is all about political battles, and the other, Californians are, well, they're getting ready for a big winter storm.
It really makes you think. I mean, these two things, they seem totally separate, right? But maybe, just maybe, they're more connected than we realize. Like, we've got this storm about to hit California, right? Immediate threat. And then in D.C., it's all about those budget debates, longer term stuff.
Interesting way to look at it. So, D.C., huh? House and Senate Republicans, they're going at it. All about how to fund President Trump's agenda. The House Budget Committee, they just gave the green light to this $4.5 trillion resolution.
Ambitious, right? Border security, defense, energy. They even want to extend those 2017 tax cuts for another 10 years. But to do all that, they're talking a $4 trillion hike to the debt ceiling and $1.5 trillion in cuts.
Those cuts, that's where things get interesting, don't they? The reports mention Medicaid, SNAP, even potential impacts there. And we're not talking chump change either. Energy and Commerce Committee, they're looking at a whopping $880 billion in cuts.
Yeah, exactly. Makes you wonder, not just about the numbers, but who feels it the most. Like, if the House gets their way with those tax cuts and it's mostly the wealthy and corporations benefiting, well, who ends up carrying the weight? Could be those lower income families who depend on those social programs, right? Trying to balance everything out, it's a tough one.
And then you've got the Senate. Whole different story over there, yeah. Their resolution, it's way smaller, $85.5 billion, and they want to offset it completely with spending cuts. Border security and military, those are still priorities, but hold on those Trump tax cuts on the back burner for now.
Right on. I think that difference, it really shows you the cracks, even within the Republican Party, like a little snapshot of this whole tug of war. Some pushing hard for Trump's agenda, others, they're waving the flag for physical restraint. It'll be interesting to see how this all shakes out, what compromises, if any, come out of it.
And we can't forget about the average taxpayer. If those Trump tax cuts don't happen, some reports they're saying 22% tax hike plus a smaller guaranteed deduction. That's not small potatoes.
Definitely not. It reminds us these budget debates, it's not just political games. This impacts people, real families all over the country. And speaking of politics, don't want to forget, we also had Robert F. Kennedy Jr. confirmed. He's the new Secretary of Health and Human Services.
Yeah, that one's got people talking. I mean, he's been pretty vocal, right? Vaccines and other health issues. He's not afraid to ruffle feathers. Definitely a bold move by the administration. Healthcare policy, things could get really interesting.
Raises a lot of questions, that's for sure. What direction things will head under his leadership, who knows?
So DC's got its political drama, but across the country, California's got a whole different kind of drama brewing. This winter storm, heavy rain, strong winds, they're even talking floods and mudslides.
And to make things even more dicey, those areas hit by the wildfires, they're really vulnerable. Think about it. No vegetation, loose soil, recipe for disaster, debris flows. That's a real worry. It's like one crisis piles onto another.
Californians, though, they're tough. I mean, they're not just like sitting around, right, waiting for the storm to hit. They're doing something about it.
Yeah, and that's what's so interesting, right? It's all about, well, being proactive, like textbook crisis management. They're not just, reacting. They're thinking ahead, trying to stop the damage before it happens.
They're talking about evacuation warnings and stuff, right? Especially for those communities near, those burn scars. And emergency responders, they're on high alert. Resources are ready to go.
And they're not stopping there. They're hardening those burn scar areas, making them tougher so they can withstand all that water and debris, like, putting up barriers, containment measures. Pretty smart stuff. They even have geologists out there mapping those burn scars so they can really understand the risks.
They're going all out, huh? Trying to protect people and property. But it's not just about the physical stuff. People need to be prepared too, right?
Oh, absolutely. They're telling people stay informed, listen to what the authorities are saying. And of course, common sense stuff, like don't drive on flooded roads. Be ready if the power goes out. This is where what you do personally makes a difference.
So this storm, just how bad are we talking?
Well, they're saying 1.5 to 3 inches of rain. That's for LA, Ventura, Santa Barbara counties. And if you're in the mountains, expect even more. Oh, in the Sierra Nevada, they're going to get slammed with snow.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot. They're really in for it.
And get this, there's even a chance, a small one, but still, a chance of a tornado in Ventura County.
A tornado in California, that's not something you hear every day. Really shows you this storm, it's unpredictable. You got to be ready for anything.
Mother Nature, powerful stuff. Even in California, land of sunshine, you never know what's going to happen.
Okay, so we've got D.C. and their political drama, California, this crazy storm. What else is going on in the world? Oh, we've got an international incident. A U.S. aircraft carrier, it collided with a merchant vessel. This was Egypt.
Thankfully, no one got hurt. No flooding either, from what they're saying. But, it makes you think. Even with all the rules and regulations, maritime stuff, It's risky. It's complicated. Accidents happen.
For sure. And speaking of complicated, there's been a big development with immigration. The Trump administration, they made a deal. They're going to deport unauthorized migrants from Africa and Asia, sending them to Panama.
It's a big shift, right? And people are talking, debating immigration law, international relationships, human rights. It's a big can of worms. Some are saying it's about time. We need to get control of immigration. Others, they're worried, about what it means for those people being sent away. It's tough. No easy answers.
Closer to home, we had that terrible tragedy in Illinois. Sonia Massey, she was killed. And it's brought up all these concerns, again, about police brutality. And this isn't the first time, right? The Sheriff's Department, they've had complaints before, civil rights complaints.
It's just awful, and it makes it clear we need accountability, transparency in law enforcement. It shouldn't matter who you are, where you come from. Everyone deserves to be treated fairly with respect.
Makes you think we still have a long way to go. To fix our justice system, make sure everyone is protected equally. But hey, let's end on the good note, right? There's some good news coming out of Houston. They're starting a program to recycle almost all of their plastic waste.
Now, that's ambitious, but it's also awesome, right? It shows what can happen when people work together, get creative. Houston, they're partnering with ExxonMobil and other groups. They want to make the city more sustainable.
It's good to see that, right? Cities stepping up, trying to do something about these big issues. Plastic waste, it's not easy to deal with, but it makes you think. All these headlines today, there's a kind of a theme, isn't there? How we, as a society, how we deal with problems.
It's like two different ways of playing the game. You've got California, right? They're all about being prepared, thinking ahead with this storm. They're not waiting around, building stuff, sending out warnings, getting everything ready before the rain even starts.
And then you've got D.C. It's all, well, political, isn't it? Long game, strategy, which party's going to win?
Yeah, the thing is, both ways, they have their good points. Being prepared, in California, that can save lives, no question. But when it comes to the big stuff like the budget, you got to think long-term, be strategic.
Maybe there's a way to combine the two.
Mm-hmm.
Be ready for what's right in front of you, but also have a plan for the future.
That's the million-dollar question, right? Especially now, the world's getting more complicated, everything's connected, natural disasters, politics, even pandemics. If we're going to handle all that, we got to find that balance.
Today's deep dive, it's really shown that, hasn't it? It's not just a bunch of random news stories. It's about how we, all of us, how we deal with everything life throws at us. What do you think? What stands out to you from today?
I think it reminds me that, we're all part of this big, complicated story. And the more we understand it, how things connect, even if they seem totally different, the better we'll be at dealing with the tough stuff and, well, making the world a little better, right?
Couldn't have said it better myself. So until next time, keep those brains working, keep asking questions, and hey, keep making those connections. We'll be back soon with more deep dives into, well, whatever the world throws at us.